Good evening, this is Robert Sidell. It's a great pleasure to be with you here on this Sunday evening. It's the Gateway Show on 6 to 7 p.m. live every Sunday night. Hold on a second here. Do that right now. I'm moving the microphone around a little bit. Uh, the purpose of this show for you, for me, and anybody who listens is to give us kind of a reset. As we walk through this life, I'm 73 years old now, and can pull us off track so many different directions. And so we may never end up finding ourselves getting to certain goals and destinations, which isn't always bad, but by the way, my friends. But still, the purpose of the show tonight is I want to share an experience I just had with somebody that I found a very life changing experience. As a matter of fact, I told him I would share this experience um, with you on the radio, with those of you listening. So stay tuned with me right now, and we're going to focus on the idea of how you can live with less regrets and more intentionality so your life can be more fulfilling and happier experience. So, this is Robert Sidell, again, the Gateway Show. By the way, background information, I'm a practicing attorney for over 48 years. I started out in California working one of the top law firms in the United States, which was a very fascinating experience. Represented Ronald Reagan and a lot of top actors. And of course, he was an actor too, wasn't he? But there was a lot of actors and actresses there. And it was a lot of big businesses. It was a very interesting and wonderful experience. And I was very fortunate to make some lifetime friends that I still talk to all the time from that place. And um, so that's where I started. Then I came to Las Vegas about 3 or 4 years later and started working for the district attorney's office. Then I've been in the DA's office ever since. Not the DA. I've been in my own private practice ever since then. So it's been a great pleasure for me. It's been a journey to be an attorney all these years, to be learning all this time. It's like life is an adventure, and it's like I've had so many stories you couldn't even believe it, but it's been fun, and it's been a good experience. And I don't think it could get probably too much better as a lawyer. There's probably other lawyers that have very good experiences, but I think that, um, and it doesn't mean it hasn't been frustrating and stressful at times too. Any business can has all those different qualities. But in any event, I just want you to know it's a pleasure to be here with you here. And tonight I just want to start sharing some of the ideas and I share a story that was told to me in the last week, and that was very profound to me, and maybe it will be to you too. I know it will be actually for each of you that are listening. So I was at a little country coffee shop. I was out in the country, out of town. I'm out of town at the moment, and I was in this coffee shop. I started talking to the owner of the coffee shop and his wife, and they said, this place we would never would have bought this place if it wasn't for my friend not having built his swimming pool. I said, well, what do you mean by that? And he goes, well, let me tell you this story because you're going to like this story. So he says, a friend of his, the guy I was speaking to is a retired policeman. A friend of his was a principal at a school, at a public school. And everything was going along. He was very charismatic, a very nice guy. Everybody liked him. And then one day he got diagnosed with bladder cancer. And pretty much everybody assumed that he would make a recovery. That was just the general assumption everybody had. In fact, I think even the doctors told him he had a good chance of that. But whatever happened, he started turning downhill. So this new friend of mine uh, started talking to him. I went over to see him about 4 weeks before he died. And you know what he told my friend, this guy that owns this little coffee shop? He says, you know what? I should have built a swimming pool. And my friend said, well, what are you talking about? He goes, I always wanted to build a swimming pool, but I thought, I don't have the money. I don't want to, what am I going to do? How's this going to work out? He goes, now here I am dying. I lost all those memories. I lost all that fun and happiness with my family, all those family times. And he goes, and he says, his friend told him, whatever you have to do in your life, don't be like me. Build the swimming pool. And so my friend heard that and took it very seriously and went home to his wife. And his wife told him, she says, you know what? They started talking about it. He said, we always wanted to have a place out of town in this mountain resort. And we should do that because what happens if we don't ever get to that point? Hey, Debbie, how you doing? Um, so they decided to buy a coffee shop, the one I was standing in, up in the mountains, and And now that's their story. They spend their weekdays down in Southern California, and their weekends in Big Bear, uh, at this little coffee shop, which they run. And they said that never would have happened if this friend of theirs, basically on his dying bed, said, "I wish I'd built a swimming pool, and I never did, and I tried to save the money, and all that happened is I lost the experiences, and now I'm dying, and I'll never get that time back." And he says he heard that, and he thought, "Wow, how can I do that in my life?" And that led him to buying a house up in this little town, and also buying the coffee shop, and it totally changed his life. So tonight, what I would like to do for each of you is to, hey, Linda, nice to see you there, is just to encourage you to figure out what's the swimming pool in your life. What is the thing you've always been dreaming of doing, but it's never been the right time? It's never the right time. It could be anything. We could be talking about spiritual things. We could be talking about a possession. We could be talking about you reaching out and healing a relationship that needs to have some healing. It could be so many different areas. It could be about you focusing on your relationship to God and seeing what that relationship is for you. What does that really mean to you? What does it mean for you to have a relationship to God? Let's see. Hold on one second. I got this little microphone here. So that's the kind of thing I encourage. That's what I am encouraging each of you to do tonight, is to think seriously. What is going on in your life? See, what happens to almost all of us, we're in this unbelievable, magical life experience. And admittedly, there are times for all of us. It can be frustrating, it can be challenging, it can be difficult. But you know what? But we have to decide, what are we going to make most important? And because if we don't, we'll be like this gentleman, getting suddenly to his deathbed and realizing he had the money, he could have afforded it, he never did, and now he'll never have the experience. So, and I want to give you, there's another story kind of like this story that's, that I heard also, which I try to keep in my mind almost all the time. There was a professor that came into a room, and he had a jar, and it had a bunch of rocks of a certain size, and they were filled up, and the jar was pretty full. And so he asked the people, "Is that jar full?" His students. And the answer for most of them was, "Yeah, it looks full." They all raised their hand, "Yeah, it's full." He says, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." And then he came back a little bit later, 5 minutes later, and had another set of rocks that were much smaller, and he poured them into the jar, and they filled in all the cracks where the big rocks had been holding space. Now he said to his students, "Let me tell you now." He goes, "Let me ask you now, is that full? Is that jar full?" And he said, and the student said, "Yeah, that's full now." And he said, "Really?" So then he went and got sand, and he poured sand in there. And sand actually filled in all the other cracks. So then he asked the students, "Is it full now?" And they said, "It's pretty full now because it's got the sand even filling in the cracks." And it probably could have been even a little fuller by putting water in. But the point is, so that he asked them, "What's the moral of this story?" And it's not quite the moral that I originally thought it would be when they told the story. He said, they said, "Well, the moral of the story is there's always more space. Even when you think something's full, there's more time. There's more space." He goes, "No, the actual real moral of the story is if you don't put the big rocks in first, the little stuff will fill it all up." And so in your life, you have to ask yourself, what's the little stuff that's filling up your life? The sand, the gravel. And if you aren't careful, you'll fill up the jar with sand and gravel and maybe even water, but you won't have space to put in the big rocks. So my wife and I frequently have a little shorthand saying, what's the big rock? What are your big rocks? What are the things that are important to you? What are the things that you don't want to be on your deathbed and said, "I wish I'd done that"? And this will be an important show tonight for those who choose to hear it. And by the way, the show's always it'll also be on YouTube later on, and I will post it on Facebook, and it'll also have a link to YouTube, so you can listen to it later on again if you'd like. So the question then, my friends, is it's really the truth for all of us. It's so easy to get tied up, well, especially with our phones and everything now. How many of you out there? We have all of our little magical phones, right? um, and we sit and watch these phones all the time, right? And do we really want to do that? Is that really the? And I spend probably too much time on mine too. That's my confession to you tonight. You just read and read and read and read, and it kind of just draws you in. Matter of fact, it's known to be that way, right? They do that on purpose, don't they? That's called the algorithm. They know what will activate our engagement. Um, so the bottom line though is that there's so many different things that we can do that can tie up our time. They can tie up. They can cause us to feel like we're busy, but are we really feeling living our life purpose? And that's really what I want you to think about tonight. Are you living your life purpose? It is so easy. What am I seeing there that you put in there, Debbie? Got to see what that picture is. Even I can't quite tell what that is. Oh, is that a jar with rocks in it? Probably is. um, I think it's true for all of us. I think to myself, it's a weird thing about life. We can make ourselves busy. We could be running from one thing to the next all the time. Uh, and then, but have you accomplished anything? Do you want to? Have you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish? Um, that's the thing I want to ask each of you. You know, and I'm thinking about it. Even here I am. It doesn't change. I mean, I'm 73 years old. If anything, maybe it's more important to me. I don't know the number of days waiting for me. The actual reality, none of us do. But and that's really why I do this show. I want to share as much love as I can while I'm on this earth. And that's really my and spiritual awakening and transformation. Much grace is another way to describe it. And that's what this show is really for. But I need it. But I need it too. You may not realize it, my friends that are listening right now, but you that are listening in the radio and also on the internet with Facebook, you know, I feel a blessing from you when I'm doing this radio show. I feel a blessing from you. Um, it's it's one of those things where I can feel your presence and your grace and your love. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm going to read something here. Linda is saying, that's a goal of mine to put down my phone, reading books again, and joined a wonderful book club. Yeah, I mean, and I listen, and still, I mean, it probably is an addiction. What do you think? Figure, my friends listening, it's kind of an addiction, isn't it? It's funny. I remember watching a Star. I'm a big fan of Star Trek. Oops, we got to go to a break. This is Robert Sidell. We're going to go to a break. The Gateway Show. I'll be back in just a moment. But for those of you on Facebook, I'll stay with you. Stay tuned. So, my friends that are listening, it's up to us to really decide how do we want to spend our time in this precious place called Earth. And it's kind of hard to contemplate this, but at some point or another, you and I will have to say farewell. It's been fun. It's been nice. Hopefully, that's what our feelings will be. The majority of them, anyway. Nobody has it perfect, but hopefully, you'll feel satisfied enough with your life that you're grateful for it. So, the question for each of us is what can we do to make ourselves more satisfied with our lives? What can we do to make ourselves more fulfilled with with our lives? Let me do something different here. Hold on a second here. Trying to readjust this a little bit, my microphone. There you go. I think that's a little bit better. Could you see that other microphone sitting there? Is that what you're seeing, Janet? What's up? Can you hear me, Janet? What are you laughing at? Are you laughing at moving around the? I know. And I'm trying. Usually at home I have a different setup, but anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter a whole lot. There you go. It's like magic. That's right. That's right. It's pretty good right now, right? Okay, I think it's pretty good. Okay, okay. Um, so my friends, each of us is faced with these same dynamics. None of us knows our numbers of seconds on this earth, our number of minutes, our number of days on this earth. What we want to do, and we can all get so busy running around from one thing to the next. Now you can be if you're enjoying what your life. Um, Janet's going to be on in a little bit. We'll talk about this when she comes on. But I'm sure she's very busy, but I think she enjoys it. And it doesn't matter if you're busy and you enjoy what you're doing, that's good. But if you're just busy for the sake of being busy, that's not so good. And that's what I think each of us have to watch out for. So each of you listening, I just challenge you. What is the thing that's holding, that you want to take action on? What is the direction that you want to move forward on? Second here. There you go. What do you want to make? Here we are. We're coming back from the break now. Good evening, my friends. It's Robert Sidell. Great, great pleasure to be back here with you on this Sunday evening. And we're really talking about you're in the middle of a supreme gift. And one of the problems is we tend to not see it sometimes. Sometimes we're more overwhelmed with our struggles and our stresses than we are in seeing the gift of our life. But really, for each of us, if we can step back from that, and if we can step back from our story, what's important? Who do you love that you haven't shared that love with? Who do you have a relationship with that maybe needs to be repaired a little bit? That you maybe need to reach out and forgive somebody with. I heard a woman today talking about her journey on the Alcoholics Anonymous group, and one of her not a counselor, the person her sponsor told her she needed to go back and talk to her first husband, who she had not been faithful to. And so she actually went back and saw him. But what she said happened was it was a very healing experience. So that was a good thing. And so there are things like that in your life. What in this precious, precious life experience, who's out there that you'd like to be friends with, that you'd like to have some interaction with, that you'd like to do something with? And what could you do about it? And could you take action about it? Now, you don't know what anybody else will do in response to you, but the bottom line is, what are we not reaching out for that's important to us? What are we not reaching out for? What are we not what dreams are we sitting on inside of ourselves, and we're just letting them kind of sit there on the shelf accumulating dust? We've all heard that story many times, right? Our dreams start to accumulate dust on the shelf of our life. That's not the way we want to live our lives. So wherever you are and whoever you are, what's still waiting there to be brought out of your life? It's not too late. You're still here. What can you do to take more action? What can you do to bring more purpose to your life? What's going to bring completion and fulfillment and purpose to your life? And that's what this show's about tonight, really, is, what you heard me talking, for those of you tune in to begin with, the person was dying and he told his good friend who talked to me, he wished he'd built a pool because he missed a chance to see his kids and his family play at that pool. Now he was dying, but would never see that. So what things are you putting off right now? What things are you putting off and not taking action on? What things uh, in so many different parts of your life? What things in health? What things spiritually? What things emotionally? What things your diet? Have you thought of a certain kind of a diet? There's so many different kinds of diets. I study that's one of the things I study online is different ideas of eating and everything. Hey, Kathy, nice to see you on there. Um, yeah, you know what? Let's see here. Friend Kathy, who's done a lot of things, including send out cards, and she's very good at all that. So, what dreams are sitting inside of you? What love is sitting inside of you, what's not expressed? What are you walking along? Have you heard the saying, for many people, life is living in quiet desperation? What quiet desperation are you sitting on that you could let out of your soul? What could you be? Who could you be if you really unfolded the greatest you version of you? The greatest version of you. Hold on a second. I just saw something. I think I can find this here. Um, Hold on just 1 minute here. I liked this. It was a good summary of what we have to do as people. Hold on a second here. Um, so I can find it here. Um, well, here's a good thought for you. The only person who doesn't make a mistake is the one who never does anything. So just keep that in the back of your mind. If you're afraid of making mistakes, everybody makes mistakes. There was something else. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. Here's what I see. We're afraid sometimes. Dying to yourself, which a lot of people talk about spiritually, dying to yourself isn't about losing identity. It's about losing the version of you that was never God's design. So, what in you is God's design? What is God trying to bring out of you? I'm thinking, believe me, I'm talking to myself as much as you. What is God trying to bring out of you in this life right now? And what would make you happier if you did bring that out of you? You know, it's funny. I wear a ring, and it's funny that the night I my wife gave me this ring on one of our anniversary dinners, and a funny thing happened. Right as she handed me the ring, this lady sitting next to us at the restaurant came over to embarrassment of her daughter and said, "Can I join you?" And we said, "Well, sure." She goes, "What are you celebrating?" And she said, "Our anniversary." She goes, "Oh, that's so wonderful." She goes, "I wanted to tell you something." She goes, "I was married many years, and my husband and I always were hoping, we had all these plans. We were going to retire and do this and do that." And she goes, "And then he died, and we never got that." And so when you look at this ring, she said, "I want you to remember that. And don't put off the dreams of today for the possibilities of tomorrow." And I've never, so I've always, so I've heard that story multiple ways. It's the guy who didn't build the pool in the back of his house when he's dying, he regrets that I just mentioned earlier. The person who tries to fill up your 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 jar of life, the time of your life, with all this little stuff, and leaves out the important stuff, the big rocks. Or the person who uh, doesn't build, like I said, doesn't build the pool, doesn't move in the direction of their dreams, or like that lady was planning to do everything when they retired, and then the retirement never came because he died. So I hear this so often from people, and that's the purpose of the show. This show could be one of the most important shows you ever hear, even if you just tuned in right now for a few minutes. What is in your mind and soul for you to share that you're not? And it could be anything. It could be you've always wanted to take a trip somewhere. It could be anything. And a lot of times you might say, "Well, I don't have the money." A lot of things are less expensive than you might think. It could be that you've always wanted to. I'm writing a book right now on marriage. I already wrote a book called The Gateway, and that's a lot of people tell me that's changed their life. Hope you always can come to my office and get a free copy if you want. You can. You know what? I want to tell you one little sad thing about that. I said that for a while, and you can get a free copy of my book, The Gateway, if you come to my office here in Vegas. And you want to know something? There's lots and lots of people that plan to come and get it because they tell me they're going to come and get it, but they somehow never get over there. Now, there are people that do also, but that's our lives, really, right? It's not that I want to blame those people. We all do that. Oh, yeah, I'll get around to it. I'll get around to it. But it doesn't happen. So, what I want to suggest to you is that today, you might say, "Oh, I'm too old now." Well, there's a lot of people that start, I have to remind myself of this now as I'm getting older. There's all sorts of people that started things later in life and accomplished things much later than you might think. I got a chance to meet Bob Proctor. He was a very successful motivational speaker. He was in that book in the movie called The Secret, and in that book called The Secret. And I got a chance to meet him personally. It was fun. And you know what's funny? He says he had more success in his life after age 70 than ever he ever had before. And in his case, a young woman came along, had some ideas about how to market his program, and it just exploded. So I met him when he was like 85 years old. I think he was 85 when he spoke to our seminar, and he was still going strong. But he did actually pass away about 2 years later, so he's gone now from this world. But but the point I'm getting at is, so you're not too old. You heard me tell lots of stories. Colonel Fried Kentucky Colonel Sanders started Kentucky Fried Chicken when he was 65 or 66 years old. And one of the things I really love about it, listen to this, my friends. He didn't stop dreaming. When he was 89 years old, he had, I think it was 13,000 people to his birthday party, but a lot of people, a lot of people. So he's living big. So I'm telling you, the one challenge, if you're over, let's say if you're in your late 60s or early 70s or maybe even earlier, it's very easy to start thinking you're too old to make your dreams come true, because that's kind of what a lot of people start thinking. And it's easy. Consciousness, one of my favorite sayings is, consciousness is contagious. So if you're hanging around people saying, "Yeah, I'm too old. What can I do? It's too late." Blah blah blah. Blah, that's going to be your story. But what if you just got excited, and what if God tapped you on the shoulder and said, "No, I've got plans for you. Plans to prosper you, bless you, uplift you in ways that you could never dream of." That's what I want you to think about tonight. And I want you to know it's not too late. Not too late. All right, my friends, we're going to go to a break right now. It's Robert Sidell, The Gateway Show. Those of you on Facebook can stay with me. For those on the radio, we'll be back in right after the break. Stay tuned. So, my friends, it might sound like I'm definitely not lecturing to you more than to me, because I have to remember the same thing. What dreams am I on, right? What dreams are holding out for me? What am I waiting on? What's holding me up? What's stopping me? Why don't I take action? Who am I afraid of? Who am I afraid? What opinions am I afraid of? It's funny. I know everybody knows. Most people know this intellectually, but all those people that you're worried about, including you, they're all going to be gone at some point. You know, if you unless you live beyond 100, even most of the people listening right now, the later older people aren't going to be here 30 years from now. Some of you will be, but the point is, this is the time. Build your pool. Live your dream. Don't wait till you retire. Don't put off your life. Don't put off your health. Don't put off your dreams. Start living as the person you want to be. It's funny. A few years ago, some people see me. I often have my colorful jacket, and jackets. I don't just have one. And I started wearing those a few years back. My kids said, "Dad, you're never going to wear those. When are you going to wear them?" Well, I started wearing them to some seminars I went to, and people all liked them. So I thought, I'll start wearing them at home too. Next thing you know, people always enjoyed me wearing these colorful jackets. So I was thinking to myself, what more stuff could I do like that? What fun things could I do even now? So all of life is a constant reinvention. It's a constant journey. And if you still have the spark of life in your soul, if you're still alive right now, you know what? It's not too late for you. I don't care what you think it might be. My dad, Janet, knows my dad extremely well. She'll be on in just a little bit on the show. Um, Janet took care of my dad the last few years of his life. But my dad got married again. The story is don't need to be into, when he was 82 years old, to a woman a lot younger than him. And you know what? Hey, Jimmy, Jimmy's a perfect person of not putting off your dreams. It's funny. Jimmy, I've had to show him on the show multiple times. Um, Jimmy Owen says he'll send you around to it so you could get around to it. That's pretty funny. But Jimmy told this whole story on their show just about a month or two ago, that how he was in the hospital and ready to die. I mean, he wasn't ready emotionally to die. He wasn't ready. Luckily, he didn't give up. But doctors were telling him, it's like, nothing's working here, bud. Your whole system's shutting down. I might be getting this slightly wrong, Jimmy, but I think it's more or less right. Hold on. We're going back in the radio. My friends, this is Robert Sidell. It's a great pleasure to be with you here tonight. This is the Gateway Show. I'm also broadcasting live on Facebook, and it'll also be on YouTube. In its own way, this is as important of a show as I've ever done because it's really about saying, "Hey, buddy or woman, what's important to you? Who are you worried about impressing? How are you spending your time? Who cares? Why don't you start having some fun? Why don't you start living your life the way you want to?" You know, um, you remind me of something. One time I was at Costco. They used to let you have a little booth there. Years ago, they had a charity. They had the Miracle Week, or whatever. I forgot what it's called. But anyway, they used to have this thing where, it's a way to help support the Miracle program, to raise money. And so I had a booth there. I would watch the people walk by, and I thought, the majority of people, it's like not like they were rude. If you spoke to them, they were very polite, but they're just walking along kind of in, if you're on a scale of 1 to 10 and your energy vibration is probably about 5. Not much energy, just kind of, it's just the way it is. I thought, well, what if you could just kind of inject some energy into it? It's like, hey, I am in Costco. This is exciting. And suddenly they were filled up with the magic. And my question for each of you listening, hey, Jonelle, nice to see you. Um, uh, let's see, our Barry Manilow girl, Jonelle Monroe. She works over there at the hotel, and I've gone over to see Barry Manilow several times, and he's a lot of fun. By the way, he's a great illustration of not giving up your dreams. He's in his 80s. I think Jonelle will probably tell us exactly how old he is, but somehow he's still doing his show, and he looks like he's having a good time. And you know what? I'm glad he hasn't given up because, uh, you know what? I show up there and the audience is, the whole place is packed, and he's keeping people a job, and he's keeping himself going, and uh, so you just got to keep going, believe in who you are, dreaming who you are. So my dad's 82, and he marries a woman way younger than him and travels all around the world for about 8 or 9 years. And so, you know, it's easy to think it's all over. Oh, okay. Jonelle says he's 82 years young. Yeah. So a lot of people say it's all over. I couldn't go perform at age 82, but he's still doing it, and they still get full packed house. We'll keep going there. My life, I like it, but so does my wife. She especially likes it. She's a big Barry Manilow fan. I am too. Now that I've heard him sing, I like his songs. I just like some of his different songs. They're fun. Plus, it's fun to see a guy. I like it when he's on. I see him on the stage and he jokes about himself. He goes, I'm like 100 years old now. I remember him saying that last time I was there. I'm getting really old. Well, he's still alive, right? And he looks fine. So there you go. And so I want each of you to think of a passion, a dream that you could do that would make you think life is fun. It's good. I'll tell you what can help me feel younger. I've already had one grandchild, and now suddenly I'm going to have two more in the next 2 or 3 months. So that'll do it for you. Suddenly you got these little beings coming out, and they're way too cute. There should be a law against that. I think there's got to be a law against it. No, I'm just teasing. But, any of you have grandkids know what I'm talking about. And it's like these little beings come along, and they want to sit on your lap and bring you things. And in fact, we've already put our youngest one to work at the office. We're paying him. No, I'm just teasing. But he's not even 2 years old. But he is so funny because you can hand him stuff. Go bring this to somebody. Go take this to somebody, and he'll just take it right over and come back. You can give him as much stuff as you want. So for each of you out there, it's not over for you. You could know a love that you never knew, even if it's just the love of God. Let's start there, right? And one of the things I talk about, I said it could be spiritual. The one thing that we all have in common: every one of us comes to this world, and every one of us leaves this world. And I used to say to people, and other people said it too, there are no long-term leases here. And it's when you're young, you don't think about that, do you? It's just like, this is just going to be forever. As you get a little bit older, you start realizing, wait a minute, there's only so many summers I have left. I don't know what the summers are, but there's only summers I have left. And so you're making me think, what extra thing should I do this summer? I'm triggering my own thinking. I hope I'm having the same thing with you. Take somebody out for lunch that you've never taken out to lunch. Do something fun. By the way, I'm going to say something fun, totally unrelated, but this has been a fun new thing for me. Might not be for everybody. Probably isn't for everybody. There's a little place over called, what is it even called? Captain Louis or something. It's one of those seafood boil places. I go over on Tuesdays, they have dollar oysters. And I tell you, my dad loved oysters too, raw oysters. I love going over there. So you can get an oyster for $1. It's fun. And so every time I'm in town, I go over on Tuesdays and have a dollar oyster, and not $1, a dozen or $18 oysters. And but that's fun. You got to find some things that are fun to you. Got to find some stuff that seems like fun. Is it making you smile? Is it making you laugh? That's the test. You know, um, I always ask couples, how do they stay married? Um, oh, Jimmy Owens, who now has a heart transplant, so he used to feel 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Well, Jimmy, you were one of those rare people who were almost. You jumped off of how big it was, like 50 feet or something. You fell when I interviewed you last time. I'm amazed you lived at that point. I think you might be related to a cat or something. But the point is, I think Jimmy, especially men, that's why men do a lot of. I'm leaving you out of this, Jimmy. That's why men do a lot of stupid things when they're young. They're flooded with adrenaline, they're flooded with testosterone, and they take a lot of risks they probably shouldn't take. And so that's just part of our nature, we men. But it's also what makes us successful. I mean, it's a whole blend of things. I'm not here to be critical about it, but I think we all felt that way. Then you get a little bit older, and Jimmy, I was thinking about you this morning. I took a walk by a house, and there used to be a guy there. They had lived about 10 years or something like that. I don't know how. Actually, it may have even been 20 years. I don't know. But he lived quite a while after he had a heart transplant. I used to go visit with he and his wife. It's been quite a while ago, and he used to talk about how grateful he was. He's alive, knowing that the strange reality of it all is he's living. He's alive because he has another man's heart in his body. I mean, it's a crazy world we're in now. But that's your story too, isn't it, Jimmy? That's your story. And yeah, I should have. Jimmy, I always like talking to you because you're an optimistic person. You keep believing in the future, and you got to believe in the future. And now your future is absolutely. It's like you're on bonus time, and we're actually really all on bonus time. If you want to know the honest God truth, any one of us could have been taken out a long time ago. Um, we can. But so the only purpose of my show tonight is really to say to you, this is it, baby. For this life, this is it. Now, get your right relationship to God. If that's Christ, get right with God, Christ. Um, but seek God with all your heart, mind, and soul, no matter what your journey is, and um, and let God reel you in. It kind of works like that, my friends. God kind of grabs you and brings you in. If you have any willingness to have God's grace in your life, God will come into your life. It's just that simple. So, and that's actually an exciting part of my life. My spiritual journey keeps evolving all the time, and it's actually a lot of fun. I wish I could. It sounds strange to say, but it's genuinely a lot of fun, and I constantly am growing in my spiritual journey. But each one of you listening right now, uh, a couple of different things I'll say to you. One, I love each one of you. Uh, Now, does that mean I know your personalities in absolute detail? Some of you I do know pretty good your personalities, but others of you maybe not. But the point is, it doesn't mean I can't love you and be grateful for your presence in my life. And if we ever meet, it will be a sense of old friends meeting. That's why, by the way, one of the fun things about this show, even if I've never met people, sometimes come in and have me represent them on an accident case, which is how I earn my living, mostly up till now. Um, it's if they come in, they always feel like they know me, and I always feel like I know them, even if I've never physically met them or even sometimes never talked to them before. And so we develop a lifelong relationship. And I have people that have been listening to the show for 25 or for a lot of years. So I've been on the air over 20 years now. Um, so my friends, just talking to you right now, I feel a great love and a great peace and a great happiness. And I know in my depth of my heart and soul that the love that exists in our souls, each one of us, if it ever the flip switch got flipped on in enough people, this world will turn into a heaven. Right now, we're often spending too much time battling each other, one way or another, even if it's just petty, petty stuff. But wherever you are, my friends, join with me in love right now See, I'm feeling a nice. We're talking. I'm feeling a nice current of what I call divine love just pouring through me as we're talking. So each one of you that are there, I pour that love upon you with grace and healing and joy. Let us live in happiness. Let us live in grace. Let's not miss that opportunity. Find the love that transforms your life forever. Find your connection to the immortal presence of the creator of creation. It's a journey, though. I've been on it pretty steadfastly, or very steadfastly, most of my life. I'm still growing. I'd love to tell you I've got all the answers. I do have all the questions. I have a lot of questions, but I can tell you. But I will tell you this: God is real. We are divine beings. We're on a divine journey. That I'm comfortable in saying. So, you know what? We're going to be back in just a second. Matter of fact, Janet, I'm going to put her on right now, and then we'll keep talking over the break. Janet, let's see. Let me change this. Are you there, Janet? Okay. Okay. Hold on a second. I've got to do something. My son explained this to me. What I have to do. Hold on. I know exactly what I have to do. Watch this. View, gallery. Ah, there you are. All right. And I just got.
Magic.
Yes, it is. You know, it is for all practical purposes. It is like magic. Let's see here. Okay. So my friends, okay, I got Janet on here. I'm looking forward to it. When well, for those of us that we're going to a break in a second, but but Janet and I will start talking about some of these same ideas that we're talking about, and we'll just keep the conversation going through the break. And we come back from the break. She's got a prayer for us, and she's got some thoughts prepared for us also. So, my friends, we're going to go to a break now. This is Robert Sidell's The Gateway Show, and I want you to know each of you are miraculous, wonderful beings. I'm grateful that you're in my life. God has blessed me with you in my world, and thank you so much. And we'll be back in just a minute. And Jen and I will still be here. For those of you listening on the radio, stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment. This is Robert Sidell. Hold on a second here. Just a second here. Just a minute. Hold on one second. I'm going to see if there's a way to put our pictures right next to each other instead of on top of each other here. He
Oh,
he's not a big.
maybe I can do it.
No, no,
Let
don't,
me
no,
see.
no, 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 don't do anything from your place. It's not because
Oh,
it's not
okay.
because of you. Hold on, just a minute. I'll see what he says. Just a minute. Hold on. You can talk to people for 1 second if you want.
I can talk. No. Okay. I don't know. I'm going to be giving some daily practices to live without regret. And then from there, I'm doing a prayer because Ernie is on a vacation for about 3 weeks on a cruise to Europe. So tonight I'm doing
I said it does a
both
good job of that.
things.
Okay,
What's
just
that?
show us how to do it.
You figured it out?
Almost. I'm going to turn off my camera for 1 second. Resize the Zoom window. I turned me off so it doesn't have to invade your privacy. Was that the only difference?
Yeah, you just and there it is.
What did you have to do with that?
I just resized it.
Okay, so let me hold on. I got to get back. I just go back to Chrome, I guess, don't I? And that's probably good enough right now. Oh, except I got
to have to turn your camera back on.
Oh, that's right. I've got to go to Zoom, don't I? Hold on a second. Okay, that's good. Good. Okay, there we are. See, we're side by side.
No, not on my side.
Well, that's the way it'll appear out there. Don't worry about how it's to you right now.
Oh,
That's the way it'll go out over the TV.
okay.
Okay, we're coming back on in just about 30 seconds.
Put a pillow under me.
Oh, that's a good idea. There you go.
Well, if I figured that out, that would pop me up higher.
Uh-huh. Smart.
I think that's
Sometimes
what
solutions are simple.
think that is going to be the solution.
Is she in there?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, we'll be back on in just a second, Janet.
Yeah, no worries.
So, my friends, this is Janet, and oh, here we go back in the radio. Oh, yeah, Jimmy says he sees it side by side. Good work, Jimmy. Thank you for telling us. All right, my friends, this is Robert Sidell. This is the Gateway Show. Our last segment, I have Janet Miller, who's also a minister who I've known for a long time now, who I talk about often. It really did a big service to my own personal family because she took care of my dad the last couple of years, about the last 3 years of his life, really, I think, right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sound about right?
Think 3.5.
3.5 years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And my dad, he was a character, is a good way to describe it. So sometimes could be very fun for her, and other times he was difficult for her, and he could be a little bit of all of it. And hold on a second here. Hold on. So yeah, so she did a great service to us, and it was a great learning experience. It's funny. I'll tell you the funny thing, Janet, about life. We're always moving through these phases of our life, and we got to enjoy them because otherwise they're just gone one day. The thing we so yeah that day time with being with my dad and going over to visit when you were there, that's gone now. You know,
I know.
and it
True.
changed both of our lives. And
It did.
so Janet, what do you share a prayer first with us? You want to share a prayer first with us?
Actually, I want to do it last.
That's fine. Do whatever you
Yeah,
may want to do.
it feels like I need to end it with that.
Okay.
So some of this is interesting because Robert and I really didn't talk about what I was going to say. I just said daily practices that I pulled up to daily practices to live without regret. And some of them were some the same as what you said, which is interesting. So it's that I have. As we seek to live with fewer regrets, there are small daily choices we can make, quiet shifts that gently turn our hearts towards presence, peace, and purpose. First, speak love while there's time. Tell the people in your life what they mean to you. Tell you that say you love them or that you're here for them. We often think we'll have another chance, but the moment to speak about life is right now. Second, practice mindful pauses. Take even 30 seconds in your day to breathe, be still, and notice where you are. Feel the air, hear the sounds, and thank God for the gift of this moment. And presence grows when we stop rushing through life and start truly living it, which you kind of brought up too. Third, forgive often and early. Regret clings to unforgiveness, whether it's forgiving yourself or someone else. Let go, not because they always deserve it, but because God frees you to live lighter. And the final thing is, don't wait for the perfect time to follow the nudge in your spirit. It's kind of like Robert's rock story, whether it's reaching out to someone, starting something new, or letting something go. Your life is made of moments, and each one is a chance to choose meaning over regret. So today, live generously, pause gratefully, and walk forward, trusting God meets us in every single step.
That's it, really, isn't it? And
Yep.
I think I think it's hard to do it without some kind of connection to God. I think we have to find a connection to God personally. I can't. Let me put it another way. I can't do it without God's grace. But what else do you have to
Now,
share with
the
us?
prayer. It's the prayer. Prayer is next.
Oh, by the way,
Okay.
before you say your prayer, I want to say one thing.
Oh,
Our dear friend Reverend Ernie is out gallivanting around the world. I don't know where he is. He went to Europe somewhere. I don't know where exactly. I didn't have a chance to talk to him, but he's going to be gone for this and 2 more weeks. And I'm just teasing a little bit because he's been here so loyally and faithfully, but just like Janet has been. And so he's out traveling with his wife in Europe, and Godspeed to them. I hope they have a great trip, and I'll look forward to hearing their stories when they get back.
yeah, I said that when you stepped away,
Oh,
when
you
you were
did?
doing.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
good.
but that's okay. It's okay. So, you want me to do the prayer now?
Sure.
Okay. Heavenly Father, we come to you today, hearts open and seeking peace. In a world that moves fast, where decisions come quickly and moments pass too soon, we often find ourselves looking back, wishing we had spoken up, held on, or let go sooner. Regret creeps in like a shadow, telling us we are defined by what we didn't do. by the words unsaid, by the roads not taken. But God, you are not a God of shame. You are a God of mercy, of grace, of fresh starts. You remind us that we are not our past, that your love rewrites every broken sentence in our story. You take our missteps, our missed chances, and somehow you redeem them. You bring beauty even from the ashes. So tonight we lay down every what if, every if only, every heavy weight we've been carrying for far too long. Help us forgive ourselves as you so freely forgive us. Help us to stop rehearsing the past and start embracing the now. Give us courage to live boldly, to speak kindly, to act with purpose, not out of fear, but from faith in you. Remind us that this moment right now is a gift. And though we cannot change yesterday, we can choose how we show up today. Let us live in such a way that regret finds no room to grow. Help us to be present with our loved ones, to pursue what matters, to love without hesitation, and to trust you with every unknown. God, we thank you that your mercies are new every morning. May we rise tomorrow, not with regret, but with gratitude, ready to live fully, love deeply, and walk boldly in your grace. And with that, we say amen.
That's a beautiful prayer, Janet. That's beautiful, beautiful. I love that.
Yes.
And
So
it's
there we
fun.
go.
All the things you touched on did actually touch on what I was talking about during the show too.
That's what I was saying. And we didn't really say what we were going to say.
You know
Yeah.
what? For all of
Yeah.
us, Janet, we just want to keep the switch on, keep our hearts. That's why instead of saying, that's why I'm saying people, I love you, because I don't want to hold that back, that part of who I am. It's funny about love. I know we're going to have to be cut short in a second. I think most are afraid. We think love's a limited substance that's going to run out. Actually, it's the opposite, right? If you share love, the more you share, the more you have to share, right? Because
Yeah.
your heart is really bottomless.
Yeah. And some people think that you can't say that love word to friends or something. They think it has to be said only to certain people too. People have that
They
scenario
do.
going on.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you
Yeah.
have to find out, we have to be a little bit appropriate or just say I love. You have to figure out the right way to say it. Each one of us do, I guess. But you're
Well,
right.
if people know who you are, then they accept it. You know what I mean?
I do. And it is kind of
Yeah.
funny. But you're right. It can, to people who don't know who you are, that can be a source of confusion sometimes
Hmm.
because society holds that in a different way.
That's right.
But I
Are we
think I'm
out?
hearing music in the background. So, my friends, I just want to say this to you. I'm so grateful for those of you that came to the show tonight and listened because you created a reason for me to be here also. I thank you, Janet, for spending your time, precious time here. I thank you, Ernie, wherever you are. We send a blessing to you. To whoever's listening, just remember this: God is real. Miracles are real. And for that reason, the best is yet to come. Let's just remember that and live that as a living reality right now, today. So this is Robert Sidell reminding you, go out and have a fabulous life. Take care of yourself. And thank you so much, Janet. It's great to have you here too.
Yep. Thank you. It's great.
All right, talk to
Have
you
a great
later.
rest of your night.
All right, same to you guys. Bye bye.
Bye.